I'm Lila, and I'm horizontal.
And I'm Grant, and I'm horizontal with Lila. Yeah. Silky smooth.
Sex positive culture.
It's my body to give.
Are threesome gifts a thing?
Taking a bath.
I like your bed.
Horizontal.
Horizontal.
This is Horizontal with Lila.
Horizontal is the podcast about intimacy that's entirely recorded while lying down.
You know, maybe you should tee it up like what I do.
This quickie was recorded live at my podcast launch pajama party on May 21st, 2017. This story is a story from Grant Stoddard. And if you don't know Grant is kind of a gonzo journalist, kind of an experiential journalist, and has done more things that risk bodily humiliation than anybody I've ever personally known. And he writes for all kinds of publications. He writes for Men's Health, and he writes for Vice, and he writes for Thrillist, and he's bizarrely prolific and will write for anybody for Cold Hard Cash. Is it true?
The cash, sure.
Yeah. So Grant has a story for me.
Yeah.
Grant.
Well, I just thought I'd talk about how this crazy life came to be, and you know how I ended up to be horizontal with Lila.
Yeah, because you were a kid who didn't have any sex, right, until much later.
Yes, very little, none. In fact, no sex, and
until you went to the States.
Yes. Oh, what a great decision that was. And how easily fooled by an accent you are. And
no, it's true.
Yeah.
It's completely true. I speak for myself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll get into the story like this. Imagine, it's the year 2000. I'm living on a piece of linoleum in a Williamsburg kitchen. I'm homeless. I'm girlfriendless. I'm jobless. I'm visa-less. Right?
You're what-less?
Visa-less.
Visa-less.
Yes. So
you're illegal. You're an Englishman in
New York. Exactly. Much like Sting, but
broke.
I have sex over much longer periods of time. But that includes dinner and a movie. So anyway, it was grim. But I love New York, and I wanted to stay forever because being homeless and living on someone's kitchen was preferable to moving back to my hometown. Not that it's horrible. It's just it wasn't for me. Yeah. You know, it wasn't my cup of tea, you might say.
And they were kind of bummed that you said so, right?
Oh, the
folks back home.
Much later, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, after a couple of nights I spent in an ATM vestibule on Avenue A, which isn't as glam as it sounds, I thought, you know, I'm going to have to... And by the way, you know, my parents could definitely give me a ticket to fly back at any point. And all it took was me to call my dad and say, Dad, rescue mission. I need a ticket. I'm coming home. But I wanted to stick around just that little bit longer because I felt like something might just happen. And Lila, something did. I was working at this record company, shrink wrapping CDs. Do you know what CDs are?
I do, in fact.
No, it's been a while. You know,
I'm part of the Oregon Trail generation.
Right.
So, you know.
So, and I was doing it really for food at this point.
Shrink wrapping CDs for food.
And I would get a free lunch out of it. It was grim.
Like they didn't pay you any dollars.
No, because they couldn't really, because I was illegal and I wasn't, you know, and I'm quite law abiding, so I didn't want to, you know, be more illegal than I already was.
Okay.
You know. So anyway.
Extra illegal.
Yeah, so I was talking to a friend of mine as we're shrink wrapping CDs, and he says, you know, if you have to go back to England, it's going to be a waste because you came here, you were in a band, I was in a band, you got that stupid accent. I have an accent.
I love your accent.
Thank you. And he's like, and you've had no kind of sexual experiences whatsoever. You know, what's up with you? And he would say this every day. Anyway, he then, I guess it's tough love is what you'd call it, you know.
Oh, I hate tough love.
Yeah. So anyway, then he and a friend of his told me about this woman named Lisa Carver, who used to write a column for nerve.com, and it was really just diary excerpts about her love life, right?
Did that exist before her, or did she originate that column?
She originated this column. It was just called the Lisa Diaries. Yeah, it was
Oh.
something different. So anyway, readers of her column had written in to complain because since she'd gotten married, her sex column, which was experiential in nature, had gotten a lot more pedestrian, right? So she said, I'll show them. I'm going to randomize the next person I have sex with. And she did that by, she was going to hold a trivia competition in a chat room. You know what that is?
Yeah.
And
I was really excited about it when I was about 10.
yeah, and she's like, I'll show my fans how exciting I can be. I'm gonna have a trivia competition, and the winner I'm gonna have sex with, right? So
Has anybody ever done that before?
not to my knowledge.
Or since?
It's ill-advised. You know, in case you're one thinking about doing it yourself. So anyway, so my friend brought this to my attention. He's like, you should do this. And I was just like, why? That's the last thing I'm going to do is, oh, and by the way, she lived in New Hampshire. So I would have had to win the competition and then get on a bus to New Hampshire, have sex with this woman I'd never met. And, you know, and he said, well, listen, you're going to go home with your tail between your legs, you loser. Go back with a story. So I was like, well, I do love trivia. In fact, in fact, the only competitive team I was ever on in high school was the trivia team, which kind of gives you some insight as to why I was sexually, you know, persona non grata.
Utilized.
Exactly.
Yes, underused to lies.
Exactly. So anyway, I was like, oh well, I probably won't win anyway. And of course I fucking did. I destroyed. I mean, like, but it was just a general knowledge quiz, and
that you took on the interwebs.
Precisely in real time in a chat room.
Oh, in real time. Right, I forgot about the chat room.
Yes.
Oregon Trail generation.
So I win, and then she's like, "You won," and I was like, "Great!" And then I had to borrow $30 or however much it was for a Greyhound ticket up to Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Who did you borrow that from?
The guy who was buying me my lunch was shrinking up in his CDs. And
the guy who was like,
yeah,
you gotta get laid.
He's like, come on, this is worth the story.
Did he have a New York Brooklyn accent?
No.
That's how I envision him. No.
It would be nice if he did, but I'm afraid he didn't.
No,
but you can pretend that he did if it helps you. Yeah. So anyway, so I suppose this was a bit of foreshadowing because this was somebody putting up money to get me to do something funny, right? So anyway, there's 3 weeks go by and I'm totally on the fence. And in the end, I'm like, I guess my friend's right. I should go. And then the worst thing that will happen is I'll have a story and maybe chlamydia, but definitely a story. So I get on the bus. I go up there the whole time. I get to like Connecticut. I'm thinking I could just get out and, I don't know, thumb a lift back to the sea, then Boston. And then finally I'm in New Hampshire, right? And
what's it like arriving in New Hampshire? Had you ever been to New Hampshire before?
No.
I've never been to New Hampshire.
No. It was...
what's it like? Is it like Pennsylvania? It's like Pennsylvania, isn't it?
No.
No?
No, it's more Canadian-y than that.
Oh.
Yeah. Like a lot of pines and people wearing plaid. And not in an ironic way.
So not Portlandy?
No.
Okay, Canadian-y.
Yeah. Anyway. And then so I get there and the plan's changed. Now I'm not just having sex with her. I'm also having sex with her husband, a limo driver, and this Filipino porn star.
A limo driver?
Yeah.
Was that in the book?
Yeah.
I don't remember this limo driver.
Oh, I do. So anyway, the night starts off with this going to Dover's one and only Hawaiian restaurant, and everything's strange, and it gets stranger when Lisa, who's writing the column, cries because she hears a guitar solo in a Dire Straits song that she finds so emotional, she just falls apart. And I'm like, this is going to be a weird night. And then we go bowling, and Lisa, again, in a kind of a funny mood, decides to experiment with trans lane bowling. She was bowling into other people's lanes and without their consent. It was very strange. And then anyway, we get back to the place and then I pair off with Lisa. Her husband's with the Filipino porn star, and the limo driver is reading a classic car magazine in the corner, right? Which is off-putting.
To say the least.
Now, I should also say that up until this point, I've been naked in front of this many people. I'm holding up my hand. There's 5 people, right? And there's already 4 other people in the room. So I'm almost set to double the amount of people, right? In one fell swoop. Yeah. So in the end, we all coalesce in the same room. He's put his magazine down. He's in the action. And we're all in every configuration you can imagine. I try going down on this lady, and I do it with so much gusto that she kicks me in the chest, sending me across the room. I wasn't very experienced or skilled, you know.
But you made up for it with enthusiasm.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I just wanted to get through it, you know. Anyway,
when you say get through it, do you mean like reach the big O? Like, did you bring her to orgasm?
No. I just wanted to get back to New York intact. That's what I meant, right? So in any event, we have this whole thing, and in the end, we discover the only person I haven't, I haven't been with Lisa, who's the whole point of this thing. So we sneak off. The only free room is her kids' room, and we do it in the. It was very interesting.
In a twin bed?
Yes, and then
isn't there a song like that? Let's do it in my twin bed.
No, I don't know. Yes, I think so. Then she puts on the mobile above the bed.
No.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
What's hanging from the mobile?
Oh, I can't remember. I just remember the tune it played. Anyway, I think it was London Bridge is Falling Down. Anyway, so anyway, then so the next morning, we're having pancakes and we're kind of getting to know each other properly, you know, and by the way, the porn star and the limo driver are on their way to a funeral, so they're all in black, right? She's wearing the veil over her head, and yeah, it's a weird and wacky scene, and then I'm telling Lisa about I'm poor, I'm without visa, I'm hanging on with but I'm in my last few weeks of really being able to scrape by in New York, and I'll have to go home, which is not something I particularly wanted to do. I was about 23 at this point. And then she's like, I know about this internship at nerve.com. It's cash, it's $5 an hour, and they probably won't ask too many questions. So I was like, that would be great. I go down there, I interview, I get the job. I'm just like delivering mail, fetching coffee, that sort of thing. Right?
You were already reading nerve.com?
Well, I was now. I mean, I was about to be immortalized in her column. So
no, but how'd you know about the contest in the first place? Did you read about it on Nerve?
No, my friend in the basement said there's this lady. That's how I was introduced to this website.
Okay.
There's this lady having a competition. So yeah, I'd started to become familiar with the website, which for anyone who doesn't know it, which is probably most people, it was a kind of like a high-minded, kind of literate take on sex.
It was so good. I loved it so much. I was introduced to it when I went to visit my friend Marley at Smith College. She said that she had met someone on online personals. At this point, I'm thinking that is incredibly dicey. That's how you meet serial killers, and that's how you meet rapists is online, because it's a lawless enterprise. And she convinces me to go on, and so we're in the computer lab making sexy profiles. I'm like looking over my shoulder, and I started. I devoured nerve.com. I probably read every article. I looked at all of the pictures.
Yeah.
I read all of the erotica. I was really into the erotica.
Yeah, it was a good. It was good.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
But why did it decline, do you think?
Well, I stopped working there.
Oh yeah. Of course.
No, I'll tell you exactly why. Because the founders grew up, they had children, and then they put the time and effort into a sister site called Babbel, which is about urban parenting. And then it got bought by Disney, and then Disney had to buy Nerve because it came as a package. And then
Oh my
As
God.
as you might imagine, the content got a little less edgy. A little less edgy.
The horror.
I know. Well, that's capitalism for you, I guess. Anyway, so I was there, and I was just an intern, and all the other interns were, they were creative writing majors mostly from liberal arts schools who were just trying to get their work in front of the editors' faces, to get published. So I guess someone assumed that I was a writer as well. And then Lisa's article came out, and I didn't ask for her to change my name because I thought I was about to be deported anyway. I didn't really care at that point. And so one of the editors, I think it was Emily Nussbaum at the time, came over to me and said, "Hey, wait, are you the guy that went to New Hampshire to have sex with a stranger? And because you won a trivia competition?" I'm like, "I'm that very same guy." And she said, "Well, will you do anything?" And I said, "Well, for money, yeah." And for money and a visa, yeah.
Mm.
And she's like, "Well, I can't promise a visa, and maybe we can find you some more money, but yeah, would you could we find some stuff for you to do?" And I was just like, "Sure." And she's like, "Will you have sex on the subway tonight and write about it?" And I was just like, "Yeah." And then she says, "Have you got a girlfriend?" And in my mind, I was thinking, no. But to her, I said, yeah. And so then the funniest thing happened. I asked one of my fellow interns if she'd help me out. And she said, can you guess?
Yeah.
Precisely. And then that night, somewhere between, 181st Street and 59th Street on the A train, we did it. And it was the most nerve-wracking experience of my life. And then I came back to the office the next day, and I kind of was telling, the editorial staff what I'd done. And they said, wouldn't it be great if you wrote about it in the form of a high school lab report? Like with a apparatus, experiment, methodology, results, and conclusion. And I said, sure.
And hypothesis?
And of course, yeah.
Yeah.
To see if I can have sex on the subway. Yes, there it is. And which was great because, I hadn't written, by the way. I had not written a word by this point, by the time that I was given my own sex column.
You mean just high school English class and that was it?
Exactly. But this format was really easy. It was kind of plug and play. I was like, every section was kind of spelled out for me. It was just a case of building these sections out. And then, so it was a great kind of like, rubric by which you could kind of like create creative writing, as if you were kind of inexperienced in writing. Also very inexperienced in sex, by the way. So I was double inexperienced.
Fill in the blank.
Exactly.
Fill in the blank
wank.
article.
That's what you're going to say. Fill in the wank. No, it's not.
No, it wasn't. But
that would play in England, I think.
I did want to say that I have always wanted to have sex on the subway, and I had a lover who lived up in Inwood, and I thought, this is my chance.
Yeah.
Because, when you get above 150th Street, it's just,
I know.
tumbleweeds.
The A train is a love rocket at that point. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'm brave.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, maybe we could do it in between the subway cars. I know it's a little dangerous, but I thought,
what?
That would be you'd be the least likely to get caught because nobody would see your genitals.
You could have squirted on the third rail, man. That would have been deadly. That would have, wow.
Well, I didn't have the courage to do it.
Okay, good. I mean.
But even with the subway car empty, just abject terror.
No, it's frightening. I mean, the lighting situation alone. I mean, every year that I get older, the bars that I meet women in get a little bit dimmer for that very reason. And under the subway, I mean, you have to be very good looking to pull that off, to remain desirable under those lighting conditions.
But did she even desire you?
Well, let's just, yeah. I mean, we dated for a year after that. So that was good. I'm not sure if I felt any desire from her at any point, but she certainly hung around. So yeah, that was it. And then what my next assignment was, I was a extra in a porn movie, Hard Evidence 2. Check it out.
Hard Evidence 2.
Yeah, but the weird thing was, I was due to appear in this movie the day that the plane started to fly after 9/11. So there I was, 23 years old, on the way to be in Hard Evidence 2, on a 747 operated by a company that was just about to go out of business, and it was a really frightening experience, especially as all the porn stars were talking about all the guns that they were going to buy because they felt convinced that a porn set was going to be the next target for Al Qaeda.
God.
Yeah, it was very strange. But anyway, that is how I slept my way to the middle.
The end.
The end.
If you'd like to become a patron of the Horizontal Arts, support me on Patreon, a website for crowdsourcing patronage. Having patrons allows artists like me to buy equipment, schedule cross-country and global tours, and devote my time to creating more and more horizontal goodness for you. Becoming my patron has delicious perks, ranging from exclusive photos and behind-the-scenes video content to handwritten postcards, and I'll tell you that my handwriting is ridiculous, spring cleaning phone calls, and creative input on future episodes. You can become a patron for $1 a month on up, and the rewards just get more sumptuous. Patreon.com/horizontalwithlila. That's patreon.com/horizontalwithlila. Horizontal's theme music was created by Alan Markley. You can find his gorgeous blue eyes and rock star visage on Instagram as Plastic Cannons. My saucy cover art was designed and illustrated by Shauna Shea. Check out her gorgeous character illustrations on shaunashay.com, ShaanaShay.com. Every episode is mixed and mastered by Owen Muir of Self-Disclosure Productions. Owen's own podcast, Self-Disclosure, in which people speak openly and often for the very first time about their experiences with mental health, is coming soon. Listen if you are a person with feelings. For most things horizontal, head to horizontalwithlila.com and sign up for the mailing list. It's getting really exciting on Horizontal with Lila. There are detailed show notes with vocabulary words. There's a glossary and links to all sorts of informative articles and sexy guidance and sensual photos. And if you sign up, they'll be delivered right to your inbox. Thanks for listening. And now you get to take us out of the clip. Do you remember?
Oh. Yeah, okay. I'm Grant, and that's what's horizontal. Oh, like butter. Yeah. Thank you. That was so fun.